it's very easy to be anonymous on social media.
So a lot of bullying now is done via social media platforms.
So I think you're very unlikely to be in the street and have someone walk up to you and say, hey, you look really ugly right now. Whereas on social media, you know, it's very possible for you to just get a message or a comment from a totally random person saying something hurtful.
Which makes it really hard for the young person because they're constantly exposed to it.
Hi, I'm Emma.
And I'm Taylor, and welcome to Influence, the Got Your Back docu-series. This episode is called Trolled.
Today we are taking a look at bullying, the difference between bullying and banter, and how to take on the trolls and win.
You might get just straightforward messages being sent directly from one person to another to hurt them or say something kind or to try and split up friendships is quite common.
As I got a little bit older, sort of maybe hitting like puberty, like 13, 14, then it became really negative because there was comments about weight, appearance, followers, friends.
We have had people where actually whole groups have been set up to talk about an individual or to try and plot a nasty act against an individual.
And then you get the group chats that are you in the group chat, are you not? You know, you get bitchy people that are in the group chats talking negatively about you. Then there's screenshots of conversations, and it kind of did make me feel quite rubbish. And I ended up clearing my entire Instagram profile when I was about 15.
We have had people that have talked about having fake profiles set up on Instagram or Facebook under that person's name, and then posts have been put on to deliberately make that person look or feel bad.
I just felt really rubbish for a while, and then I started posting like very, very infrequently. I hated using Instagram.
So if you're, as a young person, being constantly influenced by people saying you're ugly or you're stupid or you're too long-legged or whatever it might be, over time, the more you receive that, the more your brain turns that into what we call a core belief, which is like an automatic truth in your head. So if you're constantly being overloaded with these messages about not being good enough or not looking the right way or being too stupid, over time your brain starts to say, oh, I've done that wrong, that's because you're stupid. Or, oh, you're not very good at this, it's because you're ugly. Or, no, that person didn't talk to me today because I'm not pretty enough. So it becomes an automatic process in your head without you actually having a part of it. So the level of material coming at you and the consistency of how it's coming at you and the frequency can very quickly make the odd comment a truth in your brain.
I think it's a lot easier to tell someone's tone in real life, and it's a lot easier to sort of say something sarcastically and stuff like that, whereas on social media, you know, it's very difficult to tell that, because if you say something in a message, it's just text, you know, there's no tone behind that, there's no like laugh after it. So yeah, I definitely think it's a lot more difficult to be able to tell what's banter and what's bullying when you're doing it online.
I think bullying for me is the intentional act of doing or saying something to hurt somebody, whereas banter is done with the intention of good intentions of trying to have a laugh with someone. And I think if as a young person you're feeling that that's been done intentionally to hurt you, it will feel like bullying.
So what is bullying and what is banter? It can be confusing, so let's find out more.
We've been to St Mary's College to find out what the students there think.
There's different variations of bullying, whether it's online or in the present.
For me, bullying would sort of be like a constant sort of picking on a person.
Somebody trying to make somebody's experiences harder and in a meaningful and purposeful way, as in they want to do it.
Like, bullying to me is like constantly picking on every little insecurity that someone has.
It's a consistent act of hurting someone's feelings mentally, verbally or emotionally.
Bullying's probably, well, my definition myself is when you're taking all what people say is banter, and you're using that and you're doing it in a horrible way, and you're making fun of people or constantly going at someone for reasons that you really just shouldn't be.
We do see a lot of people that are referred for bullying, and actually when you start picking apart, they feel very, very bullied by what someone said, but the intention might not have been there to hurt that person. It might have been misconstrued, particularly when media is involved. So somebody might say to me, oh, Katie, you're so stupid. And my reaction to that, they might be saying that as she knows I'm joking. but actually I might not get that. And that's really hard, particularly with social media as well, because you haven't got the conversational context.
Banters with your friends or people that you know, that you have a good relationship with, so they know how you act.
Like, usually for banter, you need to be friends, so like you know that they're doing it for a joke.
Banter, I think it's quite different. It's when you're joking about with your friends, maybe taking the mick or like making a joke to try, like make people laugh, but then it's not like to cause any harm.
I mainly have banter with like my dad and stuff, and that's helped me with bullying because I learned to ignore it or give something back.
Banter, when it's really banter, it's a bit of a joke, but sometimes people say it's banter, but it's really bullying, and they use it as an excuse.
If it's something that you know might offend them, you don't say it.
So what do you do if you're being bullied online? Well, our friend Bobby certainly knows how to kick trolls into touch. Let's hear Bobby's story.
Well, when I was younger, I used to post a lot about Hull City, and I still do now, but not to the same kind of level. I'd engage in a lot of the supporters groups on Facebook. That's where it kind of started. And then that led to me being invited on podcasts to do write-ups. I did videos for Sky Sports and things like that. But whenever someone didn't agree with one of my opinions, rather than say, I think your opinion's wrong, or, you know, just like constructive criticism, which is fine, obviously, they'd say, oh, you're a girl, you know nothing, who's got, you know, this bird on the football podcast, it's a men's game. And that's when I just started kind of to feel more conscious of what I was doing. It was like I'd lost a bit of my identity, because it is part of my identity, and it remains part of my identity being a Hull City fan and going to football. And it's not my choice to be a female who likes football. It's just like how I've been brought up, and I never thought it was a problem, because I actually support football because my mum supports football. It wasn't even my dad who took me to games and stuff. So it's called Hair Game 2, and it's a campaign started by female football fans for female football fans to give them a voice and to tackle injustices that we've received online, in person. There's been a lot of kind of incidents between us. It started with 12 girls, and we came together to kind of bring this to attention and basically just give female football fans a voice. So we put this video together. We had to write down a comment that had been said to us, like either online or in person, or something we'd experienced, and we had it held on a piece of paper, quite simple to put together, and it was like 9 seconds. Posted it on the FA Cup final day, and Hair Game 2 was trending with the FA Cup final on the day of launch, and since it's really kicked off. We've got collaboration with clubs from, you know, the conference to the Premier League, and it's really, really been just brilliant to see that clubs are recognising it and getting us on board. A lot of girls have shared their experiences, and it now feels like we've got a platform that's not only changing people's opinions, but it's challenging people's views of, you know, like if they were going to say something offhand, like, you're doing it for attention, you know nothing about football, you're a girl, they're now, you know, thinking about that and thinking, what impact's that going to have? What if my daughter likes football? What if my daughter wants to play football? There's a lot of people coming out and saying things like that. Be careful about what you say. I think too many people are like a bit, you know, free with what they say online, and don't think before they tweet. I think definitely, post anywhere. Just think before you post anywhere. And also just try and take some time out as well, because especially if you're on the on the other side of it, just take some time off social media and just make sure you block those accounts that do make you feel that way. Just block them, mute them. And for people doing it, I just think, you know, be careful, because you don't know how much you're hurting someone on the other end of it.
I was bullied bad at school. I was overweight and struggled in my classes, which made me stand out from the others. My school didn't support me in any way with anything that happened. So I rebelled. I would argue and fight and was constantly excluded. In a way, this experience at school has affected me today and shaped who I am as a person.
I would still rather be friends with the outcasts, and I struggle to believe my feelings are important. I find myself either excluding myself and hiding away from my feelings, or bottling up to a point it's impossible to hide. Many of the memories from school are something we laugh about now. It felt like the end of the world at the time, but it's all an experience. If I could talk to my younger self, I'd tell myself it's okay to feel down. It's okay to have good days and bad days, and it doesn't make you a bad person. I would tell myself to stop messing around with people I don't trust, and I would tell myself to be who you are and not what your family tell you to be. I would tell anyone who's going through a similar situation that it's okay. Life is shitty. Nothing is perfect, and no matter how big or how small a problem is, it's okay. It's important, you're important, and it does get better.
What can we do to manage bullying and banter when we think it's crossing the line?
And it's very hard to solve bullying by yourself, so the best strategy is to talk with someone.
I myself probably just try to stay away from them at first. You know, if I can help it. If not, and they're actively trying to seek me out, I would eventually maybe try to talk to somebody else, you know, probably my mum at home.
I don't know if it's a good advice, but you try and keep to yourself a bit, and if someone does take the mick, you just don't give them a reaction, and then eventually they'll just get bored and leave you alone.
You see, some would say ignore it, some would, which is good advice, to ignore the situation, to back away from the situation, to ignore them. But then there's also the situations of maybe talking to someone about it, like, for instance, a teacher or a parent or a friend.
Always speak to someone or try and stand up for yourself.
The best thing to do is go to someone you trust and tell them, but explain. If they say that you to ignore it, it puts such a mental weight on you, because you feel such a letdown because you've asked for help and all they've told you is just ignore it.
Tell a friend, tell a teacher, tell someone.
The hardest thing to do as a young person is to stand up and say, this is happening to me and I don't think it's okay, or it's impacting me in a bad way. But it's only once you've done that other people around you can start bringing that protective layer to support you to challenge what it is that's happening to you in a healthy, safe way. And if you've had the courage to do that, we can undo everything else that's been done to you.
It's never easy standing up for yourself, but I think everyone agrees it's better when you do. Thanks for watching Influence.
This series is brought to you by the Got Your Back editorial board. Friends have got your back and experts who support our work. See you soon.
Bye.